contact made with the attack. And then we moved through those hills, continue on to advance, and of course you didn't see that much enemies so much except the artillery though. And we moved in one location, we've been relieved. We were relieved by British. The British occupied sector, we moved in their position, and they show us trick at night. They have a long rope over their flashlight attached, portraying as a convoy moving to draw the German artillery so we can sense what area they locate for our artillery to counter-barry. So they show us a trick how to cope with the Germans. Those are the British elements at that time.
This was a long rope with flashlights
attached? With the flashlights attached to pull slowly and to draw. So the Germans say observation area, so there's convoy moving over there. So the artillery open up. So that was one trick they tell us about, the positions, whatnot. And we have a heavy recon in that area. We lost a couple of men on the patrols with a telephone wire from CP. Evidently, the German patrol crossed the path of the wire, cut, rather than cut, but follow through and ambush the, particularly a outpost which we have it, a three-man outpost been killed and captured in that particular place because the wires. So therefore, if there's something like that happened, being outpost, the word came in. If you lost contact, continuously keep talking. If you don't have a contact, that's all. Move out of your area because you've been possibly discovered by the enemy. All that was night activity going on from both sides, the Americans and the Germans. At that time, you already been baptized by fire, close contact and strafing, whatnot. There was once we on a reverse hill, we came to a close artillery of 155, a shell, sound, whistling, explosive, a close, I don't know if we have any kill, but too close for comfort when you receive support of a head firing and explosion. But there was a sweet music to hear, that shrapnel bouncing up those hills, the rocks and all. At the same time, you could observe in the sky above a duel between the American-French escadrille planes, which we have it with us, and the German planes. You could hear the shells of those planes coming down and bouncing off those hills. Somebody possibly even been hit on the head, as I heard later. The duel in him. Also at that time, before as we're moving toward Tunis area, the Germans apply in their squadrons Focke-Wulf 190. Nobody flew those planes but German aces, the cream of the German pilots. We observed one Focke-Wulf close in on an A-26s, which we have a light bomber bombing at Tunis. And you could see that violet traces going from that Focke-Wulf into our plane, and suddenly you see the plane cut of fire moving, and shortly you see ball of fire coming into the sky. I would say 3 men already being killed. I don't know how many been mounted on an A-26 because it's a attack bomber, it's a small bomber, about 3 or 4 people. It's really disheartening for you to see, I mean, being shot by our planes, which we have a P-40s. They were slow, very maneuverable, and P-38, that was our fastest plane that time, and they engaged in German planes, and coming out to land in an area later in the Yuxla Bay, they rolled the barrels, so they showed that they shot so many planes. We knew then this is their victory loop by our fighters.
Perhaps we should just pause here, and then we'll pick it up in just a minute. Let's just take a break.
Freeze up, set.
Okay, and we can begin.
Sergeant Major, we were just dealing with the end of the fighting in North Africa, and I wonder if you can...
In Tunisia.
Right.
Those hills, passing hills, so many names, different hills, and continue advance and finding the periods approaching to it, with the Rommel being engaged by at El Alamein by the British, General Montgomery, and so we close in from this end, and we find the Africa Corps being defeated. And we witness, us Americans, when the Germans riding in the truck surrender with the feeling, what I mean, like soldiers, dignity, and so forth, passing through our lines in convoys to, I would say, to heaven, because they've been going into prison, England and America, where they survived the war, and they're able to talk about Africa. Otherwise, they would be committed somewhere else if they're not been captured. We pulled from Tunisia, traveled back to North Africa on trains. In one location, the French trains, they call 40 and 8s. We have a 40 and 8, smoking and so forth. You sweat all over your body when you're going through those various tunnels. In one location, we're passing through and we spot the American hospital area, and looking over there, everybody pinned their eyes and watching closely the beautiful creatures, the American females, nurses in a baggy pants and cap waving to us. We didn't see a white female, I would say, for 6 months, and all those bloody Americans, as the British call us, coming back victorious from the Tunisia campaign. We arrived in an area outside Oran to camp and taking rest for receive replacements and everything else. Since we took Oran, our objective was everybody been hungry to visit the city, and the city was really welcome with everything else available, from pleasure, drinks, and so forth. Of course, the fighting troops, a First Division, come out with their helmets and sleeves rolled over the shirt, seeing those echelon troops over there sporting campaign ribbons on them. We've been asking, what's this mean to, what does this represent? That's a campaign. That's the way you participate. Anyway, there was scraps, whatnot, which led to the point where General Bradley, with Eisenhower, concerned about, because we not only beat our own troops re-echelon, but we beat the British also and the Allies. So therefore, that came to the point where some repercussion was being taken to prevent this rowdy fighting troops, the Big Red One First Division. And of course, we're expecting that we'll probably maybe go into the States, return home. But we received a very pleasant news. You boys be going down there again, invasion of Sicily, Operation Husky. Well, of course, again, on the go training, whatnot. Matter of fact, who'll give us some training about pillboxes and other, but 36th Division, not combat tested. And to us was ignorance to taking training from people who not participate, because all of us becoming cocky individuals, what I mean, defeating Africa Corps. But anyway, we did have some scraps over there. Finally, the preparation took place. We depart on boats to cross the Mediterranean for invasion of Sicily. And at that time, the elements of Seventh Army originate at sea. Born at sea, baptized in blood, crowned in glory. And later they had 7 steps to hell. The Seventh Army was born under command of General Patton. And of course, the First Division was in it to participate. The 45th lent Licata, we lent to Gila. 8th Army lent to Augusta and Catania, to us to the right, plus the Canadian Red Devils Division, First Division lent between us and the British. And the engagement crossing the channel, rather the Mediterranean, was such rough that the sailors spoke, which we have on LCT, those craft coming back, company on a boat, and some supporting elements. They've been saying they crossed the Atlantic. We've been rocking 35 degrees, 70-degree rocking on a boat. As everybody been so seasick. We stayed below the deck. One soldier went on the top of the deck, and one sergeant, and we have on each boat Russians stuck in the rear, tied with the ropes. Due to this constant swaying and back and forth, the ropes broke down, and this fellow was standing, and he flew into the sea. But you have a May West belt, which on an automatic upon hitting explode. Believe it or not, that the captain split from the convoy, went out for 1 man, which he done a cardinal sin in a naval history. You never go in for 1 man to sacrifice 200 men. But the captain, he won the hearts of every man on that boat to picking us individual. But he didn't last too long. On the second day, he went shell-shocked because it was too much for him. First of all, flew into the sea, been picked up, and then with a 15 Panzer Goring Division tank attacking us. We couldn't unload artillery due to a rough sea. General Patton and Teddy Roosevelt mentioned, unload your armor over here because we won't have a First Division. We have to defend ourselves with a 4.2 mortar to stop them. And then we have 2 naval cruisers who returned from Pacific, damaged by Japanese, the Savannah and Boise. Those 2 cruisers, United States Navy, can paint with a Freedom, a German 15 Panzer Goring Division on the hull, the tanks, flat, a rifle firing just knocking out. Looking at one tank, it suddenly disappeared when it was hit by the 8-inch rifle firing. Those 2 Navy cruisers stopped the attack, and later were able to unload some weapons, heavy weapons to repel. So this was the Sicilian campaign. Entered to the water, you went below and come up and move to the shore because it wasn't easy. We have a quarter, and then enter by looking in the morning. I look and I see a gray color. What was that? Suddenly I noticed nothing but barbed wire. And between the barbed wire was passage so you can walk. But the passages were what? Mines, you see. So you have to blow with torpedo or blow out so you could advance through. Otherwise, you could not cross. We have a bungle of torpedo, but you could not destroy. You need possibly atomic shell to clean out this wire obstacle. Landing was rough for us, but we moved through to our assigned sector, and the Sicilian campaign was rough. 38 relentless days and night driving. I was wounded twice, shrapnel more likely. And on the third day, we received the screaming Mimi Mebevelfers, which they called rocket launchers. And those, when they release them with a sound, a terrific sound, and you can see the projectile passing through the air upon landing, explode, and the explosion kill you from shock, such as the blast. So the word came in quickly to yell when the shell come or it's going to land nearby you. And anyway, our artillery, the 7th field in 32nd and 33rd quickly spot us, and they're knocking out the Mebevelfers. Well, they were 210 caliber. I've seen them later after the war what they look like. But that was a terrifying weapons initially upon us, and they threw at us before evening so you could see that projectile in the sunset coming out towards you. And so the fighting on one occasion, as we go into attack, my battalion, 3rd Battalion, 26th Infantry, who I see shortly a monk in the rear behind me who's walking, but Terry Allen, Gazette back, and it's like a cane, he's walking. You don't even have an aid in hand. This is really give you that pride that you have a division commander, right, with attacking troops. In a combat, there is various a system between battalion commanders. I have a battalion commander who always being at the frontline troops. 2nd Battalion, Uncle Dan, General Daniels, who later became General, he had a party control from the rear, but also he was brave. Likewise, any other one. But John T. Colley, battalion commander, he always wanted to see to being at the front. He had a charming life. He was wounded once, but there was quite often with the people being wounded to attend and so forth to take care of it. I really admire him. Finally, we moved to Trina and held in that position over there. And 9th Division came in. And the 9th Division, the 39th Infantry, was commanded by Patty Flynn. And the motto was anytime, anywhere, borrow none. He had it